Already 60 people.
There we go.
Popular guys, huh?
Yeah. It's kind of fun to be able to do this and just like not be like a formal podcast or, but, because the process here is like,
back a little, yeah.
What?
Yeah, just bring it back a little.
Yeah, exactly. Like make it a little more real, like who we are as people. I think we get away from a lot of people in crypto are just not approachable and they hide behind a curtain. And for whatever reason, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to hide behind the curtain in crypto. But, one of the things that we really like here is like we keep it raw, we keep it real. But yeah, we keep it professional because we're humans. Like we're all doing this stuff and we're all growing in this industry. And so we like to do this like live recording. Right? Like a Tonight Show type thing. You can go to the live recording and then we edit it and then we air it, so it's been, it's kind of fun.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And I think the world's changing so much now, guys. Like I remember even being in the crypto space in 2017, but it seems like a whole different world since then. It's just exponential growth. You want to put it that way?
Yeah. Oh, it has. So many fun advancements that, it's cool to see this kind of like this wave kind of, we're learning how to surf this wave.
Yeah. That's exactly the way to put it. Definitely an influence wave just coming in. Yeah. And it's very inspiring, some of the projects that you're reading about, so many different ideas. Do you know what I mean? The tokens have been broken down into over 2,000 projects. And these are all people's dreams, passions, ideas. So that entrepreneurial growth is being fantastic.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, it's funny. I was talking with our attorneys the other day and it's not so much how people, in 2018 and 2017 is like, let's raise in crypto and then figure it out. And now it's like, let's operationalize our business so that it is a cryptocurrency company. Yeah. So you think about the influence of money and ecosystems of money and how that influences their operations at a company. It's absolutely fascinating. That it's not so much like, oh yeah, we can put together a tokenomics, push it out, do a fundraise, figure it out. It's like, hey, this is really how we integrate our community, our ecosystem holders, how we plan to grow, how we plan to adopt the technology. I really like it. It feels authentic.
Yeah, you can almost say it's business plus, right? I mean, it's like the tokenomics and the crypto aspect of it almost becomes a core aspect or branch of the company versus just the financial play, and you operationalize it in sense of, okay, how do I integrate that in our business model or in the business model of the prospective company, and how does that play with new models, how you share revenue, how you do your business on a blockchain, basically.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And that's why when me and Mark started this company, it was like we had to build a company first before we'd even go near blockchain. We needed a proof of concept. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once we had that up and going and we had traction, well, then it was time to experiment into the crypto space with implementing that into our community and our economy. So it was very, very exciting to see those fusions going on. And it's not only going on with us, it's going on with everyone.
That's great. I remember Ben, that meeting we had in downtown San Francisco on that rooftop where these other entrepreneurs were asking us about crypto and how they just wanted to raise money and walk away. And they were asking us for, how do we tap into this crypto hype? But they weren't willing to understand anything about crypto, the workflow and anything. And they got angry once we started pointing out that this is a little more than just chilling and walking away with a bunch of millions, It was a very interesting conversation. Now seeing you guys, we're like, no, we need to have a proof of concept first, and then we go to market, and then we can see how we expand into and make it an addition to our business to make our business better, not the other way around.
Yeah, and not only that, Matthias, to actually benefit our community and our customers. Like, how can we give them the most benefit? Like how come they come along on the journey with us? Like, we had huge success, but it's only due to our community that we have this success. They're buying our products, they're following us, they're liking our posts, they're sharing our posts, they're part of the Greenheart family. So we wouldn't have this success if it wasn't for them. So to have this reward structure, to be connected in the financial world now, you're able to reward your communities in just ways you couldn't before.
Cool. Guys, I want to let's kick off today before we dive into too much. Let's let me kick it off for everybody. So welcome to the Hypergraph Hour, everyone. I'm Ben Jorgensen, and this is Matthias Goldman. We're two of the co-founders of Constellation Network and Lattice Exchange and the whole Constellation ecosystem. We're pretty excited. Last week we took a break from the Hypergraph Hour, and we really want to deliver each Hypergraph Hour with so much intention and purpose. And what we're going to start to get into a rhythm of is introducing more people from our community. So people that are part of our decentralized governance group, Stardust Collective, all the way to projects that are building on Constellation like Greenheart today. And in the past, we've introduced industry leaders, advisors, other partnerships to really articulate their technology, how it comes into our ecosystem. So today kind of starts a whole new phase of Constellation and introducing some of the projects that are building on Constellation. And we're fortunate enough to come across Greenheart, who I actually didn't get a chance to meet. I had just heard word that they were announcing that they were building on us. And this is the type of impact we want to make on the crypto space. And so people come into our orbit in so many different ways, and it's just absolutely fascinating to see it. So I welcome this entire community. I welcome Greenheart's community. This is going to be a fun session. I have no doubt that the Greenheart guys are excited to talk about what they're doing. They're having a lot of momentum. So without further ado, I will introduce a couple of the co-founders of Greenheart, Paul and Mark. Maybe you can make an introduction, give some background on yourself, and kick us off.
Yeah, well, Mark, I'll let you start there, and then I'll jump in after with the...
Cool. Yeah, perfect. Well, myself and Paul are childhood friends, and Paul came to me with this brilliant idea, and I was an entrepreneur, from a family of entrepreneurs, primarily in the small business space and retail and different services at a low level, but learned great things through them. And Paul came to this super idea to start a company called Greenheart CBD. It was a spin-off of another vision that he had, and I said, let's go for it. Let's do it. He had the vision. I had the expertise to kind of bring this to life, and we joined forces, and here we are today.
Yeah, and where that vision came from, guys. I'm Paul, co-founder as well. It was basically, I've been in blockchain 5 years. I got the pitch at the likes of the Web Summit over in Portugal. I work for a company over in Switzerland. I got to work for companies in Australia, over in Kiev. Got to travel the world quite a bit. My previous work has been in the likes of PayPal and Pointy, which are tech companies here in Ireland. So I've been pretty adept to technology, and I could kind of see that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was something that was going to stick around. After learning all this technology and traveling, I came back to Ireland to try and implement this into Ireland and our economy. And how that started was through a mobile application called Greenheart Sustainable Food Systems. So I was traveling around to Irish farms, asking farmers, would they come onto the mobile application? What were the problems? What issues they were going through at the moment? And they were in a bad state of affairs, is what you could say. They had mortgages because of the heavy machinery that they would have had to get. They had contracts with the likes of supermarkets that were being hammered down on price every year. And you had the organic price, which was holding, to conventional, which was dropping. And most farmers in Ireland, were not organic standards. There were only like, you're talking only maybe 1-3% grow organic in Ireland. So it wasn't for them to be able to take a risk to go sustainable and to start providing organic produce to their community. And on that travel, I met a couple of Irish farmers that were growing hemp and experimenting with this cash crop. I was blown away by this. It was a beautiful crop to see in Ireland. And what I said to them was, what's the issues? Well, how are you getting on? Like, how's this crop growing for you? Are you making money? And I was shocked to find out that they weren't making money. They had no infrastructure, they had no technology, and they had no really sales channels there to do anything. So they could grow a fantastic crop, but they really had no infrastructure. So a light bulb moment went off to Greenheart CBD, and that's where that was created. And I went to Mark and said, look, I think we can do this. I know the right technology to bring in. You've got the distribution and sales channels. Let's smash this. So we actually became farmers ourselves. We grew 10 acres of crop up in County Wicklow, Irish farmers. And we went through the whole process of cutting, drying, the whole lot when it comes to being a hemp farmer. But when we started growing our crop, I got a great phone call off a friend of mine, Dr. Sean Paisley, that was doing an artificial drone program for plant health over in Vancouver and America. But what happened in 2019 is the crops were wiped out by hailstorms. So he was finding it hard to actually locate hemp crops over there. And I know it's very hard to believe, but we had acres of hemp here in Ireland. So he said, could he bring the whole team over? When they came over, we were able to sit down and identify a number of problems within the industry. And using this technology as well with the drones, we were able to get a traceability factor with our hemp crops. And what we tried to do ourselves and Mark was actually feminize outdoor by hand. So this was an extremely hard task to do. So we said, could we do this with the drones? So over the last year and a half, we've developed out with our partner company a 6-foot drone that has augmented arm, a sprayer, soil tester, a number of attachments that's able to go out and scan the fields, locate the male and physically remove it. This can increase the profitability for a farmer. It can identify problems before they occur, and it can do a number of really, really cool things on the farm. The way I like to say it's like the future tractor of the farm. The new thing to come onto the farm for the farmer, to help them with these new cash crops to come out. We all know the superfoods are big, and these cash crops are only going to keep growing. So we were supplying the technology to keep that traceability factor. After we grew the crops, guys, we actually then processed them in our production facility where we use a cold press extraction methods to bring our products onto market. And we did extremely well in our first year. So we got over 2,500 customers in our first year. We got over 100 5-star reviews. We were featured in Vogue magazine on an independent review. We got top 30 companies under 30 years of age. We were featured on national telly on an area ground piece. We won an All-Star Business Award in Ireland. The company was accredited. I was made a thought leader in technology, innovation, and sustainability. And we currently then just last week won another award to do with funding round of the year in the All-Star Business Awards.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've gone from strength to strength to strength with the brand. And then with the actual production house, we've actually developed a number of products. So we have our CBD oils in 3 flavors. We actually have a popcorn, CBD popcorn launching soon with the Irish Popcorn Co. here in Ireland. We have our cosmetic range launching soon, which is a everything balm that is great for everything and is completely natural. And we have a body oil. So we've been busy bees when it comes to product development and getting these out onto market. And we're very happy to announce that we closed our big first distribution contract with a company called Unisfar. And they are distributing us across all the drugstores. We call them pharmacies in Europe, across Ireland, and we're going on to their online distribution channels. So we became a profitable company, guys, in our first year.
Congrats. That's freaking amazing. I mean, if you're talking performance and track record, I mean, in terms of now you're showing up in the crypto industry, and I don't even know what to say, but just maybe for the people who are listening in, I mean, you've been talking about drones and spraying and germinizing and also picking the males. there's clear bias against males in the cannabis industry because because if the males pollinate the females are the cash crop basically, and you want to weed them out because they just pollinate the females and make them produce seeds instead of the CBD. Right. So that's really an impressive thing that you got that actually going. I mean, congrats to you guys.
Yeah, well, that's state of the art, guys. That's where we could see ahead of the curve. Like me and Mark, we actually tried to do this physically with over 15 employees going through the field in a line, looking for the male plants very early on and trying to pick them. And then what we were doing is we were walking on plants, we were stressing them out. It was very hard to find them with the human eye. And we were scanning with the drone anyway. So what we were doing is we were looking for issues within the plant health. So that would be molds, that would be lack of nutrition, that would be a number of things. So what we were doing is scanning them with multi-spectrum imaging. So from those multi-spectrum imaging, we're actually determining the difference between the male and the female. So then it really is just developing a drone that can pinpoint them and physically remove them. And I have to say, our partner and our CTO, Dr. Sean Paisley, he's a genius. Do you know what I mean? He was able to put this technology together within a year and a half of explaining it to him. So it's gone from strength to strength. So when we have something to give our farmers, we're giving something that's state of the art. It's not something that's around, it's something that's new.
So if I understand that correct, Paul, so you've completely operationalized that already. So we're not talking about a beta or like a trial. So you've already productized and operationalized that. That's ready to deploy.
Yeah, no, so we've gone from beta to prototype to we've gone right through. So I think this is the fourth drone. This is the final. We are launching the video in the next couple of weeks, so I can't wait to show it. So it's in the first week of May, we're shooting it. The sales of the drone go this summer, so we're looking at August for the start of the sale of the drone. So it's a very exciting time. Yes, Matthias. So the drone is just complete. It's not for sale yet, but it is complete.
So what my mind thinks right now, right there is, and then I want to ask you about that other stuff. We have that planned for later with the containers you guys are doing, the drop shipment agricultural containers. That's a very interesting thing. But just the drones alone, I mean, my business mind thinks about, where else can you deploy it? And I know there's a whole agri-tech industry out there with the multispectral stuff. I mean, if you have something that's deployment ready, I mean, the hypergraph welcomes everybody. I could see another spin out just like, what you're describing right now. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, no, definitely, guys. And it's so many industries it can be applied to. It's not just agriculture. Do you know what I mean? It's everything from construction to you name it. And we're going to see more and more of this start to come out. So we wanted to make sure that this technology is being used in the hemp industry. Do you know what I mean? Because the hemp industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world right now. So it needs a CBD tech company in it, not just a CBD.
Right. So I have two questions, and that's more from a practical standpoint. And one is more on the agricultural side. So is Ireland and the countries you're growing in, is that a problem with sun exposure and sun days and all that type of stuff for the CBD? I mean, Europe's not necessarily, at least in my mind, the most optimal place to grow these crops, or what's the outlook there?
Yeah, well, Mark, if you want to take this.
Yeah, believe it or not, the light levels here in Europe are very high, the lumens that are emitted, but it's actually the heat is a lot lesser on our side of the world. But the heat isn't what the hemp plant needs to photosynthesize. It's all about the level of light that there is. So the only restriction that leaves us with the seasons that we experience is that we can only have one cycle outdoor per year. That's the only restriction, but the levels of moisture and everything else that go with it are actually optimal, which is unusual, and it's not what people expect. We do have regulatory issues, but that's another story altogether.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that's my second question right now. The regulatory.
I didn't want to answer your questions.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. I know that, the US, funnily enough, with their history of war on drugs, is opening up massively right now. So we have The House of Representatives just passed a bill legalizing cannabis banking. I think it still needs to go through the Senate, but the second stage. But that's been paved right now. I know Europe's been quite lagging behind, and there are a couple of big players in the European market. How do you see the regulatory environment in Europe right now in regards to CBD? Because everybody equates it automatically with THC, kind of like, weirdly enough. What's the framework there, and how does that make you feel as a crypto CBD business, which is kind of like two of the biggest,
controversial
red buttons that you can press with people that are more conservatively minded. So how does that play out for you guys?
Exciting. I'll let you take that one, Paul.
So look, exactly, Mark, it is. It's completely exciting because it's two emerging industries and we're fusing the two of them. But I don't think the two of them are going away anytime soon. For cannabis, it's being kicked over the line, kicking and screaming, and the same with crypto. The adoption has happened. Regulatory things have been changing all the time. Like you said, America with the hemp bill, the banks are going to start backing it. What this means, Matthias, is the likes of Stripe, Square can start doing proper payments for CBD and cannabis businesses. That opens up the more mainstream to the public. So this is where we hit issues, Matthias, was with the regulatory. We found it hard to get a bank when we first started in Ireland. But then we got a bank to back us when we explained to them what we were doing. So then the payment processor side. When we went to get a payment processor, we couldn't due to regulatory issues. Most of the payment processors were American, and they just couldn't take CBD businesses. So we had to take a high risk payment processor, which cost us a lot. So that's where the blockchain comes in, isn't it, guys? So this is where we can start to, we have the drones, we have the crops, we have the production house, we have the products. Now, where is the sales channel and the payment channel? So that's where our mobile application comes into play. Our cryptocurrency, enabling our customers the biggest discounts using the cryptocurrency, make sure they're getting the most amount of value. This gets around these kind of, well, it doesn't get around it, but the regulatory issues, we're getting a problem, we're solving the problem to it, if that makes sense. Our customers can actually become part of the whole community now through the token. Become part of the, go ahead,
Paul. I want to frame that really quick, not to interrupt you, but because I think what you guys are doing with the cryptocurrency is pretty fascinating, and it's something that I really see coming into the forefront, which is seeing how much liquidity and how much money and value moves in the crypto economy, especially within the emergence of DeFi and how it's kind of staying in this world. You guys identified an opportunity to kind of take some elements of DeFi and apply it to real world businesses in the form of microcredits, micro lending, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because you're now saying, hey, you don't have to just stake a cryptocurrency in crypto and wait for it to kind of float around with other cryptocurrencies. You're saying, hey, let's use this in the same way that people borrow money and tap into an audience that it's rather hard to secure a loan. So, So the way that you guys are bridging blockchain, you're doing it a couple-fold, but I want to take a moment for you guys to really shed light on this kind of idea of micro lending. And maybe I even identify kind of that concept of lending gets into that regulatory issue. So maybe you guys can. No,
you're dead right there. Because that is the issue right there. When you go to a farm and you say, I have all this technology and I want you to grow hemp, boy, he goes, how am I going to afford it? Do you know what I mean? Where is the finance element? Where is the backing for him? So like they can grow fantastic crops and they're very talented at what they do and they provide 3 meals a day on our table. But have they got the money to invest in drones and production houses? Most likely not. So this is where DeFi can help so much, and it can actually help lift people out of poverty and into a better way of living. So even as little as 1 acre to 5 acres of land, they can produce hemp on. and supply it to our production facilities, and we'll buy the crop off them. The drones will scan the crops on a daily basis, and that data will go to the cloud, which we will have access to say, this is fully transparent. We know how healthy the crops are. It's downloaded daily onto the cloud through the drone. Then it's traveled through our production facility, and we actually indicate what's going into our machines and how much oil is coming out. So we know how much we're actually getting out of crops. So we have that data too, to show the processes that went through, like the cold press extraction. And then on the mobile application, when someone's buying it, we have that stored too. So when a farmer comes to us and we go, right, well, we've rolled all this technology together, Ben. We have the drones, the presses in a 40-foot container where we can drop on your farm and you can start producing hemp, start producing CBD, supplying it into your local community for us, and we can pay you for it. And that initial, when we pay you for that crop, that pays back your loan. So this is where it fixed the whole issue of how are we going to roll this technology out worldwide. Do you know what I mean? Well, we can lend out to the farmers, and when we grow the crop, go ahead.
And then you reward people that are backing the microfinancing.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So this is awesome.
Yes. And then we can even say people can farm CBD. So by staking your tokens or being part of the community build to help farmers, you're receiving CBD tokens that are connected to our products and our partners' products. So you're farming real products. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a token anymore. You're actually getting physical products for it. It's a pretty interesting concept.
So you're not farming a crypto kitty, you're farming actual crops. But so how does it work? Walk me through that a little bit more in detail. So you have the CBD token. I understand there's a tracking aspect from basically producer to the end product where you can ensure traceability through the tokenized supply chain, basically. But so how does it work with the loans? Because the loan still needs to be taken out in fiat. So you become essentially kind of like a bank. So how does that interface between the real world, quote unquote, US dollar, British, euro, and that crypto token? How does that relationship work? First question. And then how do you avoid any regulatory issues of becoming an unregulated financial institution, basically?
Yeah, of course. And great question. So obviously the money that we've raised, 40%, if you look at our deck and white paper, is going to the lending flow. So this will obviously be in the likes of USDT, not our token. So this enables to lend out to the community. Then we can open it up to the community to come in on this pool to also lend out to farmers and earn APY. When they're lending to the farmers, it's most likely going to be in USDT. They will receive rewards also for doing this in our CBD token, which will be live trading on the market. The regulatory issues we're going to come across, obviously, we're working on. So we're working on getting our banking license, making sure everything's up to scratch, making sure that the KYC on our mobile application is super high tech. So that means facial recognition software, documentation verification, all the highest you can do. And if that means that we have to supply a farmer with a new smartphone when they sign up to be a Greenheart farmer, we'll do that. Give them a new iPhone 12. Do you know what I mean? Show them how to use facial recognition software. Show them how to sign up. Educate them through the process. Because we've been there. We've gone through it, myself and Mark. So we know every roadblock that we hit, they're going to come up against, and we've got an answer for. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like, so if somebody defaults on a loan, how is that reflected back either in the technology or to people backing those individuals?
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously, 95% of the farmers are going to be great. They're going to adopt to this. They're going to be earning money. They're going to grow the crop. We're going to purchase the crop. The loan is going to be paid back. Say an act of God happens where a farmer breaks a leg or he can't look after the crop. That's where we will actually have a main hub base in the areas these farmers are, and we can have our team come in and look after the crop in that actual location. Do you know what I mean? We will obviously give the farmer a living for using his land also. He will still be paid. If there's any other issues like a crop fail, This is an act of God. This happens in the hemp world. We have to take this into consideration. Do you know what I mean? Now, it doesn't happen every time because we use artificial intelligence in the drones. So the drones have an automatic charging pads. They do their job every day where they fly over the crops and scan. They tell us how healthy the crops are on a daily basis. And if any issues start to occur, they will alert us in all of our areas, whether that's in Ireland, whether that's in America, whether that's in Thailand, Africa, or wherever we're based. So we will get an indication on how well the crops are doing and any issues we can come in. What Greenheart's doing right now is doing a lot of R&D on soil nutrition, soil developments. Do you know what I mean? This is happening in places like China where they're turning deserts into rainforests. So basically areas that aren't good growing conditions, we can turn into good growing conditions. So this will help with unfailing crops. Do you know what I mean? If we have good soil, we have good crops.
So Paul, maybe I can translate this for our community a little bit in a different way. Is that basically when you think about underwriting a loan, you think about underwriting the risk of an individual and their ability to pay back a loan. But what you guys have done, and I think this is really where the evolution of blockchain technology comes into place, is that you guys are going a step further in understanding the entire supply chain, which you've done over the past several years to collect many more data points.
Correct.
That you can now underwrite the risk even further to go, okay, we have all this technology out here. We're collecting all these data points. It's not just whether the individual is going to pay back, but whether they're telling us the truth and whether that the crop is actually producing or not producing, and should they be able to sustain a loan. That is absolutely amazing that you guys are doing this. And I think that's a lot of the evolution of blockchain technology and traceability and data validation that's coming to life. And then you're not just bolting on a cryptocurrency and saying, well, we could just add loans out here. Well, how do you underwrite the risk of that specific industry? Do you have the knowledge for that specific industry? I think it's absolutely fascinating that you guys have taken the time to understand that entire supply chain, to really extend yourself going, guys, we know how to plant, we've done it, we know how to farm, and we know how to distribute to the end consumer. Now, hey, how can blockchain and cryptocurrency exacerbate this business and expand it?
Yeah, and you said it, and this is what the consumer is looking for, Ben. He's looking for full traceability. So this is where I think it's very exciting that we're working together, because on our data collection, we have a cloud. So all of our points where we collect data goes to the cloud. That cloud can go into Constellation, and then that data is stored on the blockchain where the likes of institutions, research centers, pharmaceutical companies, anybody that's getting into this space now that looks for full data, end-to-end chains, we'll have the full chain. There's no middlemen, even when it comes down to the bank.
It's super fascinating. I'll kind of extend that vision a little further, is that we're entering an era where every business has to be data mining in some capacity. And this data not only helps them produce better products or underwrite more loans, but it actually allows people to create data-centric products for other industries. Hedge funds take all of this information, satellite information on where crops are producing, how climate is faring, and then they make predictions on commodities tradings or what markets are going to be valuable. And so that data that you're collecting in the industry is extremely valuable and can be traded on an open and decentralized capacity for people to create new applications, new products, make predictions that allows them to get into commodities trading. That it's a really, really big vision that you guys are painting there, that's connected through the entire supply chain. Such valuable.
One big one, Ben, is the percentage of adoption over the cryptocurrency. So we're dealing with customers that aren't crypto. They're CBD. They've got issue in pain, anxiety, you name it. They're not crypto people, but they always ask us, where can we get the biggest discounts? When are your sales on? Do you know what I mean? We'll order in bulk when you're having a 40% sale. Do you know what I mean? We love your product and we take it long periods of time. So can we buy in bulk? They're always looking for discounts. So the figure and the data I'm really looking for is the adoption from fiat to our currency to use for the product. Like, and how can we simplify it for a complete changeover to make it really easy for the consumer to move over to cryptocurrency, get a discount, and use it for the product? Do you know what I mean? So
that's really interesting. And what I'm seeing even more so, I mean, basically what you're dealing with is a two-sided or even now three-sided marketplace problem, right? So you have the farmers, you have the consumers, you have the shop and the distribution pipeline, but now you're adding a cryptocurrency to the whole mix. And there's two ways to think about that, right? The one way would be, oh, cryptocurrency is a risk. There's a couple unknowns in the regulatory field. Maybe will be overtaken by regulation, and some of these aspects might fade out faster than we think. Maybe not. Who knows? But then, if you think about your community and the cryptocurrency in itself, there's not only value in the token like you described it, but as we've seen with many cryptocurrency projects, there's a community behind it. So they are not only token purchasers or holders or participants on the growing side, you actually create an additional customer base that you wouldn't have been able to access before. And I mean, many people in the crypto industry, I mean, they're taking all kinds of substances and things, and they I mean, by default, those people are more prone to try things out. So you could say, like on the app side or on you know, even on the Constellation side, you roll out an app and then you have your beta testers and your early adopters already there. And that's what I see here. In addition to all the other aspects that you've been mentioned, you have a community you can actually productize in addition to the token value or whatever you do with your token, right? So you have a third force or a third leg that helps you bridge that gap between that two-sided marketplace problem, because that's one of the biggest issues platforms and companies like you are dealing with, right? You have the growers, the customers, but how do you bridge that faster so you can generate that traction?
Yeah, and let's take it a step further, Matthias, right? So if we can fuse Constellation and the project together, and on the product have a QR code stamp of approval where they could scan that product and up pops the drone data, the farmer information, the processes it went through, the travel cycle, all the information in a fully transparent light for that consumer to make the decision on that product. But even further, we could have this QR code system where a retailer, a shop in Ireland, say, puts the QR code sticker on their front window or their front till display. A customer comes in, takes out their Greenheart mobile app. We have the shop itself signed up on the mobile app as a shop. So when the consumer says, I want to buy this product using the punts, he puts in the amount with his wallets, he scans the QR code, it leaves the one app and over to the business app. So the business is now paid and the customer can leave. And this adoption has happened like WePay in China, over in Australia. People are coming very adapted using their phone like Google Pay. Everything's on the phone now. So if we can simplify it for even retail stores to be able to just scan with a QR code, use it as a payment. This can be done in the cafes, the CBD shops, any of our stores there where we're stocked in. And this brings further adoption, but it brings further data points, because now we've got footfall data. Do you know what I mean? Not only online data, footfall data, we've got data from the farms, we've got data everywhere, guys. Do you know what I mean? And this is where we can make it fully transparent.
And thanks for that, Paul. And we're heading towards the end of our time here. This has been absolutely awesome. Couple questions, and from my side, it's like, how did you find Constellation? Why have you guys, chosen to kind of eventually work with us and work with our protocol?
Okay, well, always been a big fan, guys. I'm in blockchain 5 years, so you're known everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's an honor to be here, even speaking to you guys, to be honest. But as well as that, it's been an honor to be speaking to most members of the team that have joined. And one of the major members is a guy called Shane McQuillan, our CSO, our Chief Strategy Officer. And he's made a lot of great introductions, and he thought this would be the perfect fit for all the data we're collecting. So I totally agree with him. I think everybody in the team and everybody listening to this call agrees with him. Bring on the dag.
Awesome.
So maybe I can. That's amazing. Maybe I can drop a little nugget there. I mean, this expands, of course. I mean, there are so many touch points where a Constellation node or a Light node could be deployed, right? Bottle data at the source, quote unquote. So I'm going to leave it at that. But there's a lot of Ben has painted a picture around the data as well. So there are multiple angles that are really, really powerful, how we are coming together. And I mean, you guys start on ERC20, of course, and then you will port, once we're fully productized on Hypercube, you guys will port over to Constellation. So there's a roadmap there that allows you guys to really build your traction and then come over once everything's kind of like neatly packaged. So that's pretty exciting.
Wait, honestly. Can't wait, guys.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
Well, maybe Ben, I have one last question.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been really, really exciting, and I mean the whole industry and the outlook that you guys are painting here. That's a huge vision, and I would really like to know, and not so much from a advertising sales angle, but where do you see the biggest challenges to your business coming up right now, and where do you see the future going, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you see the biggest shortfalls or opportunities?
Okay, now me and Mark are completely different, so I'm going to answer this and Mark can answer it because we both have different views. Okay. My biggest issue going forward with my visions and dream, guys, has always been funding. Do you know what I mean? It's you've all the D's in the world, but when it comes to funding, can you really implement them? So that was the challenge to overcome on my side. Do you know what I mean? And thank God that has been done. So thanks to all the community that have supported us. Love you guys.
And my biggest challenge, I would see, is regulation and it being localized regulation. Because it's not standardized across the globe, there's so many different avenues that we need to look at in each jurisdiction that we enter. But that is opening up. So that could be seen as an opportunity and a downfall. But it is something that needs to be monitored. And there's a lot of maintenance to go on in that space. But look, it's just an administration aspect. But it is a bit of a barrier.
Absolutely. Licenses can be obtained. You can play ball with those guys. I mean, it's not, many people always have this idea that regulation is going to cripple us. No, you are part of forging a new regulation and you have a voice in there if you want to. And instead of being afraid, just take it to the next level and preempt and be part of that next wave of how you want to see the future.
Exactly. And like here because we started in Ireland, like we can only grow certain strains that are on an EU commissions list. Whereas now in New Jersey this year, that's opened up a whole new world now of levels of THC, CBD, everything else that we can grow and we can operate with. But obviously that's different to Ireland, so it needs to be managed separately. So from an administration perspective, that does add an element, but it's just an element.
Okay, that's amazing. I have one last question. And that question, and we didn't, I mean, I have so many questions, but one thing I was really excited about is that agricultural dropship type of container farm in a box, basically, that you guys are working on. And like, I've seen it in the chat. So how can I participate? When can I have that container shipped to my house?
Yeah, so working on it. Hopefully we will have a full presentation ready by September for launch next season. Do you know what I mean? So obviously we had a lot of work to do, and we had a lot of R&D to get through, and we needed to get the funds in. But thanks to the community that is done now, we will be starting work straight away, and we hope to have something by next season for all the farmers.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks,
I mean, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Keep up to date with everything on our socials and our Telegram channel.
Yeah, check out our website as well, guys. www.greenheartcbdtoken.com.
And then for Greenheart CBD as a whole, for the CBD products, it's greenheartcbd.ie.
Thanks, guys. I love this conversation. We walked into this call. We had no prep time for this, and I think this was a fuck it, let's do it live type moment. That was just awesome to do with you guys, and I love how this turned out. Do you before I kind of give a little sign off to our community and give a few updates, do you have any other, last minute comments where they can find you right now, how to get involved?
It'd be great if everybody joined our Telegram channel. So it's the Greenheart CBD community. If everybody can come over there, any questions at all, just fire them in there. Myself and Paul are on there, and the rest of the core team. We've also got a nice community manager group that are assessing the questions that come in. So there's constant interaction, anything at all, just fire it in there, and we're more than happy to answer. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. You'll get us everywhere.
Well, guys, thank you. Exciting for us. We're going to be intertwining Greenheart into Constellation, soon to be an L0 token. You can imagine a lot of the business that they're talking about, the data that's being captured from a drone and underwriting a lot of these loans. A lot of that can be validated through Constellation's core protocol, tied into the data type of an L0 token, and then provide appropriate rewards to the various staking pools. So we're starting to really connect those dots on how L0 tokens are going to be way more robust than an ERC20 token. And this is really just a starting point, and Greenheart's going to play a huge role in Lattice Exchange and our lending solution all the way to DAG. So I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. I'm stoked about what you guys are doing. It's fun to see an evolution of the pot coin, and which you have nothing to do with, and yet you probably faced a lot of baggage. You guys have done an awesome job, and I love that you guys came and found us as well. So welcome to our community, and our community welcome.
Absolute pleasure.
And we always have updates, guys. Always updates with us. So we can't wait to get on the next call, because we'll only have more information to share.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
guys, on a brief sign off for the Hypergraph Hour, I can't thank you all enough for coming. I know everybody's waiting for that one more thing moment. I do have one more thing. Next week is a big week for us. We launch our project intake form for projects like Greenheart that are applying to build on Constellation. Projects that are looking for funding, looking for us to help them navigate the entire crypto experience, operationalize their business. And it starts a whole new slew of events and announcements that are rolling out, from new announcements around Stargazer Wallet, which will provide multi-chain asset support, all the way to start to expose more companies like Greenheart that are really good, fundamentally strong businesses that have taken the time to understand an industry and port an industry onto a blockchain, and not just blockchainize a certain subset of their business, but truly take an industry and understand the soup to nuts and place it on a blockchain that can actually support all the different facets of a business. So a lot of announcements coming up. Next week is going to be high energy across the board. So I can't thank you all for coming in. Really great call, guys. This has really been a lot of fun.
Big time. Honestly, great call, guys.
Good.
Welcome to the community.
Thanks.
Welcome to the Greenheart family.
See you guys.
Family.
Yes. Thank you. See you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Looking forward to the next call. Thanks, guys.
Bye.